town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and Mossy and mud holes, and back then we only ate what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads, and out of towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, southern pride, toting gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Live.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, skin backwoods, when they ride this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, time of town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddied up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means, we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and geekies. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and teepees. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings. Wildcats, blazing, Titletown license. Winners, pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty. You hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, skin backwoods, when we ride this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, time of town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddied up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey. Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, skin backwoods, when we ride this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, time of town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddied up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
What's up, Lowndes County? Welcome to the Viking Nation Live. It's Thursday night. It's time to party. What did Garth Brooks say? When all my rowdy friends are coming over tonight. So we are doing that virtual style here on the Viking Nation Live. It's our weekly celebration of our One Lowndes community. I'm your host, Larry Godwin. Got a special treat for you tonight with a brand new super fan to the Viking Nation Live. I think you'll really enjoy this guy. So anyway, we kind of teased it a little bit last week. He's making his debut tonight on the Viking Nation Live, and so I'll let him introduce himself in a couple of minutes. So before we get cranked up fully, let's thank our sponsors that make all this possible. And thank you so much for sticking with us the entire year. From the first of the year, you've been with us through the spring training and the off-season workouts and the 7-on-7s and the summer doldrums, and then we kicked off, and here we are at the end of October playing game number 9. Can you believe it? That's why we get so excited all year long for high school football season, and in the blink of an eye, it goes by quickly. And so that's why when the season's here, we don't waste our time, wallowing in the mud of negativity. We want to uplift and praise our team as much as we possibly can, trying to be as objective as possible, but recognizing that we are the Viking Nation Live, and we're going to do all that we can to promote our program and everyone involved with it. So let me go ahead, and I got a lot to talk about tonight. Let me go ahead and thank Pepsi of Valdosta for, these guys have been faithful and loyal sponsors for 2 straight years in a row. And we thank all the fine folks out there, Pepsi Valdosta, as Doyer Deloach and the gang out there. They are the fine distributors of Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Rockstar, Mountain Dew Energy, and Mountain Dew Spark. Thank you so much to Doyer and the fine folks at Pepsi of Valdosta. Thank you so much to another long-time loyal sponsor, and that's Kyle Conger with White Oak Investment. And I think you'll notice with our sponsors, they like what we do. They find value in what we do. We send business to them as much as we can. If you have a product or service that you can use from one of our sponsors, please at least give them a shot. What do you got to lose? And another example of that is Kyle Conger at White Oak Investment. You can reach him at 229-850-8848 or on his website. So thank you so much to Kyle for sponsoring the program and sponsoring the White Oak Investment comment line as well. Speaking of the comment line, go ahead and get your hashtag One Lounge typed into the comments if you would like to enter for your chance to win tonight's drawing. So I also want to thank Tim Neesmith. Spoke with Tim on the phone for a few minutes this afternoon, driving down I-75 South, trying to get back as quickly as I can to be with you guys for tonight. And it was well worth it. And Tim is a big reason for that. He's got a company called A Shade of Perfection, where he specializes in custom shades and blinds. If you got a need for that product service to make your home as beautiful as possible, why not dress up your window treatments? And Tim can help you do that at A Shade of Perfection. You can reach him at 229-251-3479 or on his website at ashadeofperfection.com. We thank these guys, the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. I'm not talking to these guys this week. You know why? Because it's Georgia, Florida week. It's Georgia, Florida week. And you see the royal blue that Justin Haskin is wearing on the screen right there. But other than that, these are two fine fellas. They really are. Josh Batson and Justin Haskin. They've got a clinic called the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta, where they are your certified headache medicine specialists. You can reach these guys at 229-333-9838. Go ahead and call them, schedule your appointment, because they do offer a variety of migraine and back pain treatments. Thank you so much to Josh and Justin at the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. Thank you to this dude. He just, man, right before we came on the air, I got an email alert saying that AquaWorks Pool Company just came by, cleaned my pool, sent me the report of how much chlorine's in it, what he had to add, what he had to do to make it beautiful, that kind of stuff. But even though it's kind of colder now, we can't swim in it, we still want this thing looking as beautiful as it possibly can, right? And so that's what Chandler specializes in. AquaWorks Pool Company. It really did my heart good this past week when one of our viewers sent me a private direct message, say, hey, can you give me that contact information to the pool company you're always talking about on screen? That pool company is AquaWorks Pool Company, and that's Chandler Kudik, 229-415-0752. As far as pool companies goes, they don't get any better. As far as a person goes, they don't get any better than Chandler. He will treat you right. So give him a call, 229-415-0752. And finally, thank you to these guys, Tony Green and Trey Hatcher, for coming on board this year and sponsoring our program. They've got a company called Imperial Auto Sales, where, you know, if you have a automotive need, if you're looking for a car, and sometimes people say, you know, car prices are high right now. Whatever they are is what they are. But if you're looking for the absolute best deal, then these guys have two great locations to help you find that car that you're looking for. Cars, trucks, SUVs, whatever you're looking for. They've got two great locations, one on Ashley Street and one on Bay Tree Road. That's Imperial Auto Sales. Ask for Tony or Trey. Thank you so much to these guys and all of our sponsors in 2023. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Before we get into that, I want to give you my quote of the day. And you guys know the routine by now. I try to pick a quote that is applicable, appropriate for the times that we're in, especially the week that we're in. So here's my quote of the day. And this is actually from Sun Tzu in the book, The Art of War. Of all places, here's a quote. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Makes sense, right? Really relates to the football world. If you know yourself, but don't, and let me back it up. I'm going to do it reversed. If you don't know yourself, if you don't know your style of play, if you don't have a team identity and you don't know your opponent, you're going to fail just about every single time. If you know yourself and your team identity, but you don't study your opponent, if you're a player and you don't watch film, if you're a coach and you don't watch film, if you don't know the opponent, you're going to be successful about 50% of the time. But if you know yourself and your enemy, you don't have to fear the result of 100 battles because you are completely prepared. I thought the quote was perfect for the times that we are in, and especially when it comes to high school football. How in the world can you correlate a quote from The Art of War to high school football? There you go. That's why you tuned into this program. You just did it. And with that said, let's go and bring in one of our newest super fans. That's Armand Rashad. How you doing, Armand? Welcome to the show, man.
Man, thanks. I'm doing good. Happy to be here. Excited.
Man,
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I am thrilled that you listen. If you guys haven't tuned in for very long to the show, if you're a new viewer, sometimes you'll hear Armand give a call into the program, give us his opinion. And Armand, every single time you call, the audience absolutely loves it because you're, one, a very knowledgeable football guy. Two, you were a Lowndes Viking and you wore that crimson and white. And three, you just give very, very good insight every single time you call. And so I think you're a fan favorite. So guys, if you ever want to appear on screen on the show, it's pretty simple. To start with calling down in the trenches. Well, I mean, we basically treat everybody the same. You call on a regular basis and you become a great caller, then we'll invite you on the screen. And that's exactly what we did with Armand, because every time he calls, he's a great caller. And so it's like, man, this makes sense. Why don't you just come on to the show and become a super fan? And so we thank you so much for being gracious enough to share your knowledge with us.
And you know what, Larry, I just got to say this, right? Like minds think alike. I told you this is my man cave in progress.
Look at that. Look at that.
And then, not to mention,
we're having some hot spot problems tonight.
You know, you can't. It's hard to take a lot of greatness at one time. So I got my dogs, go dogs. I got everything ready for the man cave as we get ready to go. So
absolutely, man, absolutely. Hey, let's talk about some football. What do you think?
Hey, let's go for it, man.
All right. So listen, if you are wondering where our other regular super fan that's usually on the screen by now in Chase Garnto. So Armand and I, we're on the screen in the backstage. We're preparing for the show. We're waiting for Chase to join us on the screen. And he sends us a text, right? And so, you know, sometimes we're a little bit tardy because, you know, we're kind of rushing home from work, or we got a family emergency or something to look into. But Armand, you know why that he's not on screen, right? Here's the text that he sent us. He says, I'm going to be a little late because I'm trying to make cornbread.
But you know, it takes a little. It depends on the type of cornbread. I wonder if you make it jiffy, or is it that homemade, you know, from scratch in the skillet that you put in the oven. I just got to know what kind of cornbread he's making, because if it's jiffy, he ain't got no reason to be late.
Absolutely, man.
So we got
to ask you about it. Is he using Jiffy or is he going? So we'll cut him slack if he's trying to do it from scratch. But if it's that Jiffy cornbread, they ain't no excuse. No excuse at all.
No, because Jiffy is just what I think. Add a little milk, crack an egg in, and then throw it in the oven. It should come out right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, before we get into the football talk tonight, we want to wish Lowndes softball the best of luck tonight. They took it on the chin last night. You know, they're playing at the Elite 8 state tournament over in Columbus, Georgia. They took it on the chin last night, playing Buford, lost 4-0, and they are playing game 2 tonight. That is an elimination game for the Lowndes Vikettes. And so best of luck to Stuart Thomas and the Lady Vikettes in the state softball tournament. So they should be starting really any time now. So we'll try to monitor how they're doing as their game goes on tonight.
And that's the best of 3, right? It's always best of 3.
I think it's a double elimination tournament. So they lost to Buford, and then they get put in really what's known as the losers bracket, right? So now they're playing. I can't remember if they're playing North Forsyth or another team that put in that bracket as well. So it's a double elimination tournament. So if they lose tonight, that's it.
All right, I'm gonna speak it. They gonna win.
There you go. Speak it and claim it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of other things that's happening around the state. So one of the things that is coming very, very quickly is the reclassification. We've been talking about it for several weeks now, and it's finally here, Armand, and that is the GHSA. They're doing the reclassification. Everybody knows they're eliminating Class 7A by now. But the only thing that we've been waiting for are the final student population numbers, known as the FTE numbers. Those are due, I'm being told, either the end of this week or early next week. So once those numbers come in, the committee will get together and everything will happen with lightning speed there. So we're going to find out pretty quickly in the next 2 to 3 weeks, probably in the next couple of weeks, the new classification numbers and the new region 16A that Lowndes be a part of. Now I'm hearing through the grapevine that we may not pick up as many teams as we originally thought in the new 16A. We're probably going to pick up Tift County, but I projected that we would pick up we would pick up Houston County as well, because they've definitely got the numbers. But I'm being told that because the multiplier, the 3.0 multiplier for added district kids, that the GHSA is tweaking that. They've already passed it, and so they're tweaking that. And because of that tweak, it's going to allow some of the numbers of these other teams to fall a little bit, and that might be enough to keep Houston down in the new 5A instead of joining us in Region 16A.
Okay. So my question is, does Bainbridge and Coffee come back? Or
no chance. No chance.
Okay, gotcha. What about Ware County? Will Ware County move up or? Nope. Oh, wow.
No, Ware County is actually a smaller student population than Coffee County. Bainbridge definitely will not go. There was some speculation of whether TCC, Thomas County Central, would stay in 6A. That's not going to happen either. No.
So I would love for that to happen, though.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah, Thomas County Central. I know when I was in school, that's when they had Joe Burns and the gang, and they were tough. They were one of the better teams that we played. We only played a half against them, and they were just real tough. I think they won in 96 and 97 state championships.
That's right.
And I just was saying, man, those guys, they needed to bump up a level. And in fact, if I remember correctly, they beat Moultrie. They beat Coffee County that year as well. So.
Yep. So the new 16A will probably be, now don't hold me to this, but if I had to look into a crystal ball, it will probably be Camden, Lowndes, Valdosta, Colquitt, Richmond Hill will remain, and Tift County. So we will end up with 6 teams. So that means 5 region games, and now it's going to mean 5 non-region games as well. Now, Armand, it's going to be the interest. I'm interested in you answering a question for me when it comes to scheduling as a super fan. And guys, for you viewing, and if you want to chime in on this next question, please do that. So here's the question. So Adam Carter now, he's had 1 full year with us, or about to have 1 full year with us, but he basically inherited the schedule that he got. He got a chance to add a couple of teams with some cancellations early on this year. But essentially, he inherited the schedule. Now, starting next year, the schedule is going to be completely his. So if you are in Adam Carter's shoes and you've got 5 non-region games to schedule, as a super fan, would you rather, how would you design that non-region schedule? Would you rather have like a super stacked schedule up front where you're playing like elite teams 5 straight weeks or cupcakes 5 straight weeks? How would you do it?
I wouldn't. A mix, right? I always been come out classmates. We always say you need a couple of Hepzibahs on your schedule, right? and that's no slight to Hepzibah, but you know they were who they were and probably still are who they are. But I would have a couple of those teams, but I wouldn't stack it, because when you stack that schedule like that,
yeah,
it's can do if your team is at that level, then good. It's just priming them for that region run and the state playoff level. But if you don't have that talent that's there to actually compete, you could lose the kids. And like a lot of people don't realize, these are still kids. And,
that's right.
And they can get discouraged pretty quickly. So I wouldn't stack the schedule, but I would definitely, if it was me personally, I would try to schedule a Ware County. I would try to schedule, home and home with Bainbridge and, even Coffee County, because that's familiar. And at the same time, you don't have to travel as far to go to it. And me being a band parent, I would love not to have to, all the away games have to be in Atlanta and whatnot. So yeah, it was, I would put it right there in the middle.
Yeah. So there's always been a debate within the Lowndes administration when it comes to scheduling, because obviously as a program that we've got a very large athletic program, and football ticket sales fuels a lot of that, right? So we want to maximize the number of home games that we have. But when you do that, because historically, ever since Randy was the coach, historically, we've always insisted on 7 home games. And if we can't pull that off, then we at least have to have 6 home games. And I'm all for that. But when you do that, some of the better schools are going to balk at coming to your place because they're going to want a home and home series. Yeah. Right. So that's historically why you haven't seen Buford down here or some of the bigger schools, because you want, and in the last couple of years, you've seen some of the bigger schools will play us, like Grayson, because we did agree to a home and home. East Coweta, we agreed to a home and home. So that factors into it as well. And so here's my ideal schedule. You tell me what you think. I think for a 5-game non-region schedule, first game of the year probably should be a soft game. That's just the way I would schedule it. Second game of the year needs to be a high-quality team. Third game of the year, it needs to be the biggest, baddest team you can find, because now you're 3 games into this thing, your players should be clicking, and now you really want to know, even if you don't win that third game, it's early enough in the season where it will expose some of your weaknesses to give you time to work on them, right? The fourth non-region game, now you start to bring it back down. Still, a fourth game is a high quality of program, not the biggest and baddest, but a high quality school. And that fifth non-region game is another good team, not a world beater, but a good team that basically gives you a tune-up for what happens the following week. And that's the start of the region schedule. What do you think about that kind of approach?
I think that's I'm with you on that one. I remember my senior year, I think we played Thomasville first, and then we turned back around and played. I know Hepzibah was somewhere in there. I'm gonna keep throwing the Hepzibah out there, but I do know we played Camden County as well. And I remember Coach Miller saying that we try to schedule as many. It was one quad A at the time, but because if there were any tiebreakers going into playoff seeding, that you wanted to have those same classification games as well. So I'm with you on that one. First game, doesn't necessarily have to be a cupcake, but I don't think you want to schedule IMG for your first game.
That's right.
Season, unless you're Bishop Sycamore, then you.
That's right.
Then you're just looking for it, but I'm with you. I totally agree with you, Larry.
That's kind of like, that's really why I would love, that kickoff class that we've played in the last couple of years. I don't like those things the very first game of the season, because 1, it's super hot. If you play 2 games, it's going to be super hot. 2, you're just coming out of your camp. You don't really know what you've got. The kids aren't ready. This is the first live fire, that kind of stuff. So I don't like those kickoff classics the first game of the year. I would prefer it the second game. I did, that probably disagrees with the power brokers and the game schedulers, but that's the way I would do it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, but honestly, I probably wouldn't even participate in them.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
I'm focusing on my team,
right.
And I get it, the ticket sales and everything, the money that brings in. But if I'm focusing on my team, I want a schedule that probably, like you said, progressively gets tougher,
Yeah.
and then eases up right before region, and that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, football is a war of attrition. So when you have those powerhouse opponents early on, who knows how many kids you can lose.
That's a good point. Very good point. So, but I gotta tell you guys something. I'm not going to tell you the exact dollar amount, but in the last couple of years, this kickoff classic, it treated Lowndes and Colquitt very well. I'm just going to leave it at that. Very well monetarily.
Okay.
It's all about the Benjamins, man.
Exactly. You said it first. I was thinking it, but you said it. So.
There you go. That's one of the things that gets me in trouble is my mouth, and I will often say what people are thinking, and that oftentimes will get me into trouble, even with people that love me. So anyway, listen, I've gotten into trouble with our own audience before because of me saying things out loud that everybody is thinking, but that's okay. That's another topic for another day. All right. So one last topic before we get into Lowndes and Colquitt. We'll recap that game, but one last topic is this: NIL. So NIL has already reared its head across the state. And one of the articles that I read, I could not believe, Armand. And that was all-world quarterback, sophomore quarterback, Julian Lewis, up at Carrollton. There was an article that was written. You ever listen to the On3 network?
I do.
It's a credible organization, right? Yeah. So they reported this. This is from the on3.com website. It says the elite 2026 quarterback and USC commit patiently waited for the Georgia High School Association to make its move. And they're talking about Julian Lewis. They said it was only a matter of time until Julian Lewis stepped into the NIL world. The four-star quarterback signed with Leaf Trading Cards in an agreement procured by Everett Sports Marketing. The agency does not formally represent Lewis, but assisted with his first notable endorsement deal. Here's the quote. This is a significant, remember, this is a sophomore quarterback in high school. This is a quote, this is a significant six-figure deal at first-round NFL quarterback values on the per signature basis. We here at Leaf could not be more excited about signing Julian Juju Lewis to a deal, Leaf Trading Cards president Josh Pankow said. The potential for Julian is off the charts as he continues to amaze this year. We look forward to working with Julian and producing many highly collectible cards for his fans to collect. Let me get your thoughts on that.
I don't like it. And let me just say this. I'm all for capitalism, right? I if you can make money off your name, image, and likeness, I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like some of these deals, I've heard about some bad NIL deals, right? And what are we basing this on? Like you say, he's a sophomore, right?
Yeah.
What happens to the kid if he gets hurt and he can't fulfill the contract? What happens if, for some odd reason, let's say he doesn't qualify and he has to go to JUCO, right? There's so many, like, who's protecting the kids? And that's the thing about NIL is that, like, you have these predatory companies that will throw out a lot of money to get a kid to sign. Even in college, this is happening in college too, and where they're giving that money, but that money goes against future earnings. If they make it to the league. So I really don't like it. I can see if they said, okay, come on down here to John Brown's auto shop, shoot a commercial, we'll give you $100 or something.
That's right.
I can get that, but that's a legitimate business that's just making a one-time transaction. When they get signed to these long-term deals like this Leaf trading card, I don't know. I just don't know.
I'm right there with you. I'm all for allowing the kids at the high school level to do this, but it just seems like there's not enough structure in place yet, because now we're talking about a lot of money, potentially anyway, a lot of money that needs to be dealt with correctly. And what I mean by that is, the IRS is coming.
Oh yeah.
Right. And if this thing is handled incorrectly, now you potentially have a high school kid and his parents in some really, really big trouble.
And I don't want to sound like I'm a hater here, because I didn't get offered an NIL deal when I was in school. That's not it. It's just like you said. It's I'm pretty sure his parents, at least I'm hoping his parents, they have a good team around them, because Junior.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure he does.
But with him aside, what about the other kids who don't?
Yeah.
And that's who I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about those kids who don't have that team around them to insulate them from the predators and from signing bad deals. So it's a catch-22.
That's
I'm
right.
for it, good, because I wish I could remember people paying for my gas when I was in high school. Hey man, good game. They paid for my gas. That's the kind of NIL that I got when I was in school. But I just don't know, man. I just don't know. It's man, I wish I had more to say about it, but I just don't know. And I see Chase. What kind of cornbread was it, man?
Chase, we want to see this cornbread.
No, bro, that's my first time. The kids are going to have to taste it and tell me whether or not it's any good, because I got no idea.
Well, welcome to the show. We're glad you could join us tonight.
What's up, fellas? How are we?
We're doing good, man. We're wrapping up our talk around the state when it comes to football stuff, but now we're going to transition pretty quickly into Lowndes football. Last thing is, the other athlete in this area that has signed a deal is Chris Martin out of Tift County, quarterback, announced on Facebook that he has signed with a company called Pro Athlete. I don't know anything about that deal, doesn't give any type of details, but apparently it's it includes some type of trading card and potentially, I guess, an apparel line as well. So best of luck to all these kids that are fortunate enough to get these deals.
Yeah, I think the Waffle House ought to sign Jalen Carter to an NIL deal.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, let's get Jalen some NIL money.
Yeah, man, that kid's open as much as they are.
So Chase, man, you like giving people nicknames like Mr. Waffle House, that kind of stuff. I'm afraid to ask what nickname you would assign to me. Would it be something like Dollar General or?
No, man, you LG, bro.
Okay. We'll just stick with LG. That's fine. We got to come up with a nickname for Armando. Maybe we'll leave it to the audience to come up with a nickname.
All right.
So let's talk about Lowndes football. First of all, so I'm going to let the audience know, since it's the first time to have both of you guys on the screen at one time. So I'm going to let the audience know that, Chase's forte is on the offensive side of the ball. I think we've experienced that enough by now to realize that. Armand's specialty is the defensive side of the ball. Armand, tell the audience a little bit about your background. You were a Lowndes Viking back through the 94 through 97 seasons. You played for Milt Miller. What positions did you specialize in?
So I came in playing corner. My sophomore year, I played primarily wide receiver, a little corner, a little safety. And as I was telling you earlier, man, coming out of going to summer camp, I couldn't catch a cold, butt naked, soaking wet, standing on the North Pole.
You had hands of stone, huh?
Man, hands of stone was not the word. I was dropping everything, man. I couldn't catch nothing. And then somebody got hurt, and they said, "Hey, we need a body." And the next thing I know, I was outside linebacker ever since. So played the weak side. Pretty much my junior year, I was a nickel back / weak side linebacker on that team that we went all the way to the semifinals, lost to Brookwood. And then my next year, my senior year, we finally beat them jokers over there that used to be on Forest Street. You know, that cold night in November, we dominated, won 14-7.
There you go.
They didn't have a chance, but, you know, that's how it was. At least that's how I remember it anyway. So, and then from there, man, I just been just enjoying the sport, coaching whenever I get a chance, whether it was Little League when I was in Germany, when I was stationed at Fort Lee, even here in the Parks and Recs. So, yeah, I've just loved the sport of football. And like I said, I'm a Viking through and through. I remember Coach Tomberlin bought out the black jerseys with the plywood on it. I wanted to wear that jersey so bad, but unfortunately, Milt Miller wouldn't let us wear the black. He said our colors are crimson and white or silver, and that's what we was wearing. And so
they wouldn't no way he was having anything to do with a black jersey.
No
way. No way.
He wouldn't. No.
All right. So we've established our super fan panel. So we're looking forward to some really, really good discussions from you two going forward. So let me go ahead and set the stage. I'm going to ask a generalized question of you two and the audience at the same time. This game against Colquitt County that we just played, did you guys see us keeping that thing that close for that long?
I'll let Ahmad take it first.
No, I didn't expect that. And in fact, unfortunately, I was watching it through live streams. You know, people had a little blood pressure issue, so I couldn't make it. Because Lord knows I probably would have stroked out knowing it was that close out there. But no, I didn't. Like I told you the day before, you know, I thought, well, it kind of played out how I thought it would, that Colquitt would pull away. I thought Colquitt would get up early and then kind of idle it down. But, you know, the fact that Lions played that strong first half, like we always say they do, they just not consistent to finish through. The fact that it was that close, that late, really surprised me. And I don't find there's no such thing as moral victories, but I was proud of my boys, man. They went out there and they played hard to the bitter end. So,
Chase, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I'm gonna take my turn here. Look, they shocked me in the way they competed on both sides of the ball. I thought they did some really good things all night long. I thought they did some really bad things throughout the night. I didn't see them keeping it that close that long. I honestly thought that coming out of halftime, Moultrie would just put their foot on the gas, and I think they attempted to a couple of times and just fell short. They just bogged down for whatever reason. I really liked the offensive play calling in the first half. I thought we did some really, really good things offensively in the first half. I was liking what I was seeing out of our line, out of the receivers, especially out of Smoke. I thought Smoke ran the ball really well. I thought he found the holes. He hit them extremely fast. I don't know. Something went awry in the first part of the third quarter. Just don't really know what was the cause of it. You know, never really saw no justification for it. I don't know. I could point to various different things, but I could give my opinion on it. My opinion on it is, you know, I would have done some things differently. Let's put it like that.
Chase, you know what's coming?
LG, if you put on that hat, man,
one of our super hecklers, John Carroll, has already pointed out. He's already got a nickname for me other than LG, and that is the Asian Cowboy. So here's my second screen personality. The Asian Cowboy was not surprised at all. I've been telling you guys since the off season. Now, I was a little bit wrong in some of my score predictions, that kind of stuff, but I told you guys that we had the potential to have a very, very strong year. I actually predicted that we would beat both Valdosta and Colquitt, even though people would tell me, Larry, you crazy. LG, you just crazy. But I knew we had the potential to do it. I was just disappointed as the year progressed. We just didn't seem to live up to that potential. Now, in the first half of the Valdosta game, the first half of the Colquitt game, probably going through the third quarter, we did live up to that potential. What happened in the fourth quarter? I don't know. Coleman Lewis said we just simply ran out of gas against Valdosta. I've heard that in a couple of times already. Now, that tells me something. That gives me enough. We've got 3 games as an indicator now, where against some pretty high quality opponents in East Coweta, in Valdosta, and against Colquitt County, where we've built a lead or we're in this thing very competitive, and we just seem to run out of gas in the fourth quarter. So is that a trend? Is that an identity of this team? Is it a tendency? Is it a lack of conditioning? I don't know. I had one fan, guys, call me this week and pose this question to me. It's like, Larry, we've had 3 big games now, and we've kind of lost our conditioning in the fourth quarter. Teams are pulling away from us this year. Is it because of the indoor practice facility? I thought they were crazy, but that was a question that I was posed. I don't really know what the answer is. I just know that we're not finishing the game strong. You guys agree with that assessment or no?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Adam Carter himself said on the coaches show that they got to find a way to finish in the fourth quarter. Now, in the Colquitt game, you got to understand that's a senior laden group. In the last 2 years, I think they're 21-1. So that senior laden group's only lost 1 game over the last 22. So, I mean, there's something to be said for that. Coach Calhoun's really great, phenomenal football coach. However, I will say, going into that game, I was pretty much Colquitt was the second best team in the state.
Yeah.
I don't think Colquitt's what I thought they were after that game.
I felt the same way, and I will get into that for a second, but I want to ask Armand something. Armand, being the defensive guy, we've had some defensive issues this year, and I don't know if it's a holdover effect from last year. We had some of these same issues last year. The offense seems to be coming along. They're arriving a little bit later than I expected, but they seem to be coming along now, and they're hitting their stride, it appears. But the defense is still struggling from opening whistle to end of the game horn, right? In your assessment, what do we have to do? Is it a scheme thing? Is it kids being out of position? They're not being taught. They're not listening. They're not reacting well. They're still trying to learn. What is it that you see?
Combination of all of it. First off, you got to simplify it.
Okay.
Secondly, I'm sorry, like I said last week, in 3-3-5 scheme, we don't have the manpower up front on the defensive line. We don't have the dogs we need just because there's absolutely no pressure being put on the quarterback from just that 3-man front. If we blitz and we send somebody a couple more extra bodies, yes, but then we get put in man situations. And with no help over the top, I'm sorry. Like, why do we keep putting our kids in these situations? You should always have help over the top. If you don't have a Deion Sanders or a Champ Bailey on the corners, like, you always got to have that help over the top. Greg Reed's not playing anymore. That can lock down one side. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's the scheme. It's not simple enough. If you make it simple, you dumb it down, or so to speak, these kids will play freer. They'll know what they're doing, and they'll play fast. They'll play disciplined, and they'll go hit people in the mouth for 4 quarters, and you won't get tired because you're able to get these teams out. Too many times it's 3rd and 25, and we give up a 30-yard catch, and now we're back on the field. So that's the thing, not getting off the field on 3rd downs, and then also for the offense to help them out, too many 3-and-outs. Too many 3-and-outs. And so it's a combination of both. You got to play complementary football, and right now, I think we're just trying to find an identity.
That's right.
but it is what it is. But yeah. But
I hear you.
Let me say one other thing. Last year, we just got beat by a better receiver at times.
Yeah.
They were rarely out of position. And they fought until the very end. If you look at some of the scores last year, we were in almost every single game that last year. This year, we got blown out the board a couple of nights. So it's one of those things where I just think we're, like I said, somewhat out of position. I don't know where the disconnect is, but too many times you've seen kids just like this, like, I thought you had them. And so, gotta simplify it.
Gotcha. Now, we had a question from one of our viewers, Jerry Safford. He says, is number 49 still hurt? Unfortunately, Jerry, yes. That's you're talking about Amarian Whitlock. He did suffer an injury a couple of weeks ago, and Chase, I think he might be out for the year.
Yeah, I haven't been able to 100% get that confirmed by anybody on the coaching staff, but I do know the young man, and he was there Friday night, and you can see he is moving very, very gingerly. So there's obviously some issues there. I don't know the full extent of his injuries. I haven't talked to his mom since he got his MRI, so I really don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a great young man, a great family. And we wish him an absolutely speedy full recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it has forced us to play some other kids in that defensive line position. Now, something that I noticed, guys, in this game against Colquitt was we were rotating players like crazy on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't think conditioning should have been an issue going into this game. I think it was something else other than conditioning when it comes to the defense, because I noticed just about every other play, if not every play, we were rotating lots and lots of kids in and out of that game.
Well, I could tell you from an offensive standpoint, if I'm attacking, if it's me and I'm putting together a game plan to attack Lowndes' offense, they key on the run really good. Or to attack Lowndes' defense, they key on the run really good. That running back from Colquitt's a little bit different style of running back. He's very patient, but he's very slashy. So that's a little bit different style of running back, but they do tend to stop the runs a lot better than they do the pass play. But because they're keying on the run, the safeties are playing extremely shallow into the box. And I think Armand would probably agree with that. But if I'm coaching an offense that's playing against Lowndes, I'm running on first down, and I'm probably going to go play action on second and third down just to draw your eyes where I want you to look. If my quarterback's decent enough, even if you're playing a single safety over the top, I can move that safety around. I can make him go where I want to go. So, I mean, especially when you got receivers like Colquitt had, which you've got Nikar and the big tight end, and Landon Thomas, and you got all those guys, man, and it's just that dude. I mean, let's be honest. If I knew I had time to take a selfie and read a book before I had to throw the ball, I could do what I wanted to do. Like Armand said, you got to find a way to get pressure on me.
Absolutely.
And can I say something? Just I agree with Chase. Chase, you hit the nail on the head. If I'm attacking Lowndes, I'm probably not even. I probably wouldn't bring out that play action until maybe my third or fourth possession. Mm-hmm. Only because they key on the run so well. You saw Valdosta, they did it. They did it twice. Those two touchdowns, Valdosta did it twice with the play action, and boom, wide open. But like I said, that's a lack of discipline.
Yeah.
And not understanding who has who.
Exactly. And listen, if you're a Lowndes fan, your heart has been broken so many times over the last probably 10 years when we've had teams in 3rd and 20 and everybody in the stadium knows what's about to happen. They're about to throw it deep and more times than not, it's completed. So I almost wish that the next time we're in a 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20, that they would stick someone like a Aiden Sifa in at safety and say, you got one job. You got one job. Knock that ball down because we know it's coming. But that's just my simple mind.
And Armand, correct me if I'm wrong, and LG, you can chime in too, but East Coweta and Colquitt both threw a lot of their touchdown passes on post routes.
Mm-hmm.
You should never get beat on a post route, man. Not with two safeties over the top.
Yeah, but a lot of those times the safety was nowhere to be found.
Correct.
Exactly, because he's too deep in the box.
Exactly. So, and I'll also say like the technique. A lot of times they're not looking back for the ball; they're just waiting for the receiver to react so they can knock the ball out of their hands. They teach a different technique. I don't know.
I've noticed that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always was taught, hey, you be in his hip. When he looks up, you look up. You make a play for the ball. Don't you go get the ball. You turn it to the receiver once the ball is in the air. That's how I was taught to play defensive back by the late great Coach Randy Hill. So yeah, that's what.
Listen, some would argue that Randy Hill was the best defensive coordinator that Lowndes had. Now, Byron Slack would have something to say about that, but many would argue that Randy Hill was top notch.
Look, Randy Hill. This is what I want to say. I love that man. Randy Hill used to come pick me up early in the morning. Randy Hill he invited us to his house, and he was just a good coach, somebody who I've always held near and dear to my heart. So if you got a chance to play for Randy Hill, y'all know exactly what I mean. He treated everybody well. I ain't gonna say he treated everybody the same. He treated everybody how they. What's the word I'm looking for? If you were a good kid, he treated you good.
Yeah.
If you did bad, he didn't mistreat you. He just wouldn't go the extra, for you. But he was always fair. That's what I would say about Coach Randy Hill. And a defensive mind. So many times I would get to school early, get to a workout early. He put me in there. We're watching film. And you're right, Coach Randy Hill. Probably one of the best defensive minds to come through Lowndes High.
Absolutely. So, guys, we here are some quick stats from the game. We talked about some of the defensive struggles, but we're going to highlight some positives as well. Lowndes, Marvis he was 17 of 24 passing for 176 yards, about a 71% completion rate. Smoke had 141 yards on 16 carries. Aleem Brown, 64 yards. Marvis had another 88 yards rushing. So very, very strong performance offensively that night. So you got close to 500 yards of offense right there. So in high school football, oftentimes that is enough to win. You score 34 and 500 yards offense, oftentimes that's enough. But we ran into a buzzsaw when it comes to the Colquitt offense. We won't belabor the point that they're just loaded across the board offensively. And that showed. Their quarterback is a senior, Nico Fan. He was 15 of 29. It was only slightly above 50% completion, but it was for 347 yards because most of those completions were long bombs. Right? Or they were able to turn a 10-yard hitch route or dig into taking it to the house, right? That kind of stuff happened consistently all night long. Landon Thomas, their superstar tight end, he was limited. He had 95 yards in receiving on 2 receptions, 95 yards on 2 receptions and a touchdown. Their next biggest guy, really their top receiver that we did not account for, was their senior wideout, Zay Williams, that number 3. He was as quick as lightning, had 5 catches for 155 yards. Whew. Over 600 yards of offense they put up on us that night.
Yeah.
And we still hung in there for a long, long time. So I know I heard one of you say there's no such thing as moral victories, but if you're a Lowndes fan this year, you got to count this really as a moral victory. Because let's be honest, a lot of people expected us to get blown out. When you would ask people, yeah, you too. I see you raising your hand. At least you were honest enough to fess up. There's Armand.
At least we honest.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, I said 37-16, 36-16. That was my
Listen, I asked someone, what do you think the score was going to be? And their answer flippantly was as much as Colquitt wants to score. That was their response.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing that I got to ask, and I'm not a defensive guy, so I'm gonna refer to Armand for this answer. All right, Johnny Bebo. We haven't seen him a lot. He's been sporadic. My question is, with number 49 down, all right, with Whitlock down and out for probably the rest of the remainder of the season, do you try maybe putting Bebo at the DN position?
In this scheme, I don't know if he's big enough to play DN. You know, like I just don't know. Like in this 3-3 stack, a lot of times they're lined up over like right over the guards sometimes. And so you ask somebody like Bebo, who's about 220 maybe, you know, like if he was playing in the 4 technique, I would say yeah, you know, or if he's able to, you know, play standing up and just come off the edge, yeah, you could. But in this 3-3, it's kind of hard, and that's why I always say I don't think we have the personnel for it. But let's just say we were a 4-2-5 team. You would be able to have 4 athletes. They don't have to be the biggest, but 4 athletes. All they gotta do is just be able to control that gap.
Yeah.
And keep contained. You would be able to have them do that and let your linebackers make plays.
Yeah.
Like so, and I've been wondering the same thing. Like, where is Johnny Bebo? Where is Bebo? Where is Bebo? Last year, that's all we heard was Bebo. But then again, I'm reminded of last year, like, man, where's Elijah Colton last year as well? So it's, I don't know, man. Bebo, if you're watching, get out there and show out, man.
Show out. That's what we want. Show out. Last 2 regular season games, just show out.
Yeah, man. By all means, put your head down, put your nose to the football, and go get your some.
Yes, sir.
Well, there was a comment in the White Oak Investment comment line. Some were debating whether or not Nico Fan, the Colquitt quarterback, was a junior or senior. So I just looked it up on the newspaper over there, the Moultrie Observer, and this is what they said in the article. Colquitt County senior quarterback Nico Fan completed 13 of 15 passes against Camden County. So they're calling him a senior. So I'm assuming it's correct. He's listed as a senior on Max Preps. So I'm assuming that's correct.
Yeah. I thought
I wasn't, and like he impressed me a whole lot last year when we were in Colquitt County. He really did. He made some big time throws last year.
Yeah.
Given the fact that Kivas Thomas was playing on all over NICAR. So I mean, he just, to me, looked like he might have regressed a little bit coming into this year. He didn't look like he was as comfortable as he was last year. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's due to something they changed in their offensive scheme. I don't know. I know he was a little hesitant sometimes getting the ball out quickly. He seemed like he had a hitch in his throwing motion.
Right.
I don't know what that's due from. I will say that I know that their offensive line kept a clean pocket for him. And he could, like I said, he could pretty much, behind that big offensive line of his, he could pretty much take a selfie and write half of his autobiography before he had to make a decision. So, I mean, hats off to Sean Calhoun. They've absolutely put together a monster on the offensive side.
And historically, man, Colquitt County has always had a huge line. That offensive line has been a staple, and they've just been big. I mean,
it has, yeah. I don't know where they get the kids from, but they have very large offensive linemen. That's for sure.
Like, I used to kind of, I ain't gonna say I dreaded it, but I remember just looking across them like, good Lord, it seems like everybody the same size as Ashley Henderson was. That's what it felt like whenever we played Colquitt County, and it still looks like they got nothing but Ashley Henderson's on the offensive line. So, but like we said last week, Larry, he who wins the line of scrimmage wins the game.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And like I keep telling everybody, as far as the size that everybody keeps referring to, and we've got the fans out there, and there's probably commenters on there right now talking about Lowndes' offensive line don't have the size it used to have. I agree. But offensively, there's ways to scheme for an offensive line that's not that big. There's things you can do up front that can slow down a defense.
Sure.
I mean, there just is. But the fact is if we give Adam Carter time, Adam Carter's really, really big in the weight room. We've heard that from several different people. He's and if you don't believe me, I can show you. I could take you and show you a picture of Kylan Fox whenever he first went to Grayson, and show you a picture of Kylan Fox now, and it's night and day different. I mean, Adam Carter's weight room regimen pays dividends. We just got to give him time to get it implemented across the entire program. Size-wise, guys, there's some size coming. We just got to be patient. I mean, you've got kids in middle school right now that are, 12, 13, barely 14 years old that are 6'3", 6'4", weighing in at close to 200 pounds. And they're athletes. They can flat get after it. So, I mean, they're coming. We just got to be patient. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight.
Man, nobody wants to be patient anymore. I don't want to hear that. What are you talking about, patient? Nobody is patient anymore.
I know. It's
this is the McDonald's world of high school football.
No, it's a smartphone world.
But yeah, man, Larry, you got to give Coach Carter some grace. You got to give him 3 years. You got to give him at least 3 years. By year 3, he should. We can't do nothing by our standards but go up. So if we win 7 games next year, then cool. That's progress. We should be competing for region championships at the bare minimum.
Absolutely. So I've got a Lowndes softball update for you guys. They are in the bottom of the 3rd. They're playing North Paulding, and Lowndes is up 2-1, and they are at bat. They've got 2 on with 2 outs.
Come on, girls.
Let's go. Let's go. I told you, Larry.
Everybody put their rally caps on. Everybody start waving those rally towels.
It's towel time.
Now, I love the concept of the rally towel. I just don't like what we call them, rally towels. Why? Because that word rally assumes that we're behind. Right?
I mean,
that's usually what rally means.
Yeah, we could always steal a line out of Pittsburgh, I guess, call them the terrible towels.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should call them just spirit towels. I think that's the perfect name for it. So anyway,
how about the concrete towels?
That's another. Candace Marie said they helped though. Yeah, Candace, they did help because I don't know why the last 5 years or so our fans are used to just sitting down now and not being very loud. So it did at least help to get some activity in the stands because everybody doesn't mind. They don't mind waving that towel. They just don't like yelling at a football game for some reason.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I used to love how intimidated other teams were at our home fans just because of how loud we could get. I remember, and this is going to show my age a little bit, but I remember as a young man, my grandma, I grew up only a couple of blocks from the high school. I grew up back behind over behind Academy. What is Academy Sports now? And I remember being able to hear not only the Georgia Bridgemen, but I remember being able to hear the fans from that far away.
Yeah. So
it's got to get back. It's got to be a part of the pride of Lowndes is our fan base and always has been. Somehow we got to figure out a way to re-energize the fan base.
I heard both of you say we got to be patient, and I'm certainly there with you. I'm in that camp as well. You got to be patient. You got to give Adam Carter at least 3 years, that kind of stuff. How would you address something that John Carroll says? And John Carroll, as much as I like to give him a hard time, every once in a while he will throw out something that is so profound. But I think this comment that he says represents a lot of Lowndes fans out there. He says it's hard to be patient with the lack of fundamentals in blocking and tackling. How would you address that?
that right there is the kids have to buy into the coaches
Okay.
and what the coaches are teaching, and they have to really believe it. I tell you something, like Milt Miller will call us pissants, right? But we'll run through a wall for him, right? like we run.
Did he actually call you a pissant?
Oh man, ask anybody who played for Milt Miller, right? That was his favorite line. Excuse my French, but he would call us that, but we run through a wall for him because we believed in Coach Miller. We felt like but I remember being on that team in '94. That those kids, the seniors, we only had 6 seniors in '94, and so I remember it was just being like, okay, they're not really buying into it because they just weren't. But by the time we got up and we bought in 100% wholeheartedly, we didn't have the biggest offensive line, but guess what? They went out there and they run through a brick wall. Same thing on defense. We weren't the biggest, but we run through. It could have been Bo Jackson out there, but you'll see 11 maroon jerseys around Bo Jackson just because we know Coach Miller wanted us to do that. So it's being able to buy into the program, buy into what he is teaching. That concept of big team, little me.
Yeah,
that's what you have to buy into. And that's why I say give him some grace, give him some time, and let him get this culture turned around into what he wants it to be. And once you see that, you'll see those kids flying to the ball.
I got you. Okay.
I got a question for Oman. All right. As far as the blocking and tackling techniques and stuff like that, by the time you get to, correct me if I'm wrong, but by the time you get to the 9th and 10th grade years, that should be already fundamentally drilled into you.
Yes and no, right?
Well, as far as the basics, I'm not talking about that. Maybe not the intricate nuances, but the basics of what you need to know how to do by the time you get to the high school coaches, so that they can critique and teach the expert stuff that they want. You should have the basics already down, correct?
Yeah, it's a want to.
Okay. So it is what I mean is, do you think there's a gap between the middle school and the high school that we got to bridge there somehow?
Well, possibly yes, but look how many times people change positions from middle school to high school, right?
That's true.
That's a good point.
Right. And so and then but it's a want to, right? You in order, if you want to block somebody, you want to play offensive line, you have to want to do it. If you want to play defense, knowing that you got to tackle this 200-pound running back, that's something that you have to want to do. That has to be in you. But my good friend Mo Lane and Deron, they always say either you coach it or you just allow it to happen. Mm-hmm. So it might be a combination of the three, but I'm a firm believer either you're coaching it or you're not coaching it, or you just allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Now, in this day and time, I don't think it's how do I say this tactfully? I don't think we can put this blame on coaches when it comes to fundamentals like blocking and tackling, because we've got pretty much professional coaches nowadays. And I got to think that they're pretty good at what they do if they're at a school the size of Allows High School, right? So sometimes, guys, you guys have been players. I've been a player. Sometimes a coach can scream and yell and teach as much as they want, but it's up to a player when they're in the game to actually tackle somebody instead of trying to copy a big time hit that they see in college or pro ball where you just try to lay someone out with your shoulder instead of doing the fundamental, like wrapping up and bringing the player to the ground. So you could, as a coach, you could tell a player over and over, I want you to tackle. But when they get into a game, sometimes they just don't do what you tell them to do.
Do you think that has something to do with the limited amount of full contact practices that they got going into the seasons? And
could be, but other schools have that same restriction as well. And
look at the tackling problems Coffee County had Friday night.
It's an epidemic.
Yeah, you might have a point there, because the GHSA over the last several years has begun to restrict the number of full contact days that you can have during the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
For old school, for old people like us, tackling is an epidemic. Like the art of tackling is being lost. Very few kids have it. And it's like you said, they don't practice it as much. Like I remember it was times where, as crazy it was, Miller made us at halftime do Oklahoma drills because we were missing time.
At halftime?
At halftime.
Oh my gosh.
I'm being honest. He can't do that today.
That's right.
They can't do that today. I don't even think they do Oklahoma drills that often.
They don't call it Oklahoma drills anymore.
What do you call it?
I don't even know what they call it now, but you can't call it an Oklahoma drill.
Okay. Tulsa.
You can't run bull in the ring anymore.
Wow.
Listen, if you're a Berrien County buddy of mine, you're gonna have to like turn down the volume real fast. So if we're talking about non-contact drills, they'll probably call them Berrien drills nowadays.
Oh Lord.
Wow.
Hey, wait a minute, Larry. You need to give yourself a timeout in the penalty box because you did that to me last week or the week before.
Jennifer Green, just ignore that I said that. Okay.
So, but at the same time, Berrien High School, they only have, it's a small population, right?
Yeah, Berrien County's got a small population. They're a double-A school.
Yeah. And so I can understand not being as physical as often at the larger school because, lose 2 kids, it might be offensive line and defensive line gone. So I can understand that.
But at the same time, there are ways to practice. Hold on, how do I say this? There are ways to practice and things that you can do to teach tackling technique and physicality that do not require a body impacting another body.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to take your word for it because I can't remember the last time I've been out to a practice. I remember how we practiced back in the day, but things have changed completely. So I have no idea how they practice nowadays as far as day in and day out in drills. So I have to take your word for it.
I know last year and the year before, I went to a good amount of practices under Coach DeBose and actually Coach Graves. I was able to witness. It's not as physical as it was when I played. It was more of a hey, let's get it right. Like this is where you got to be at. Let's run this one. Almost like a glorified walkthrough at times.
Yeah.
From what I witnessed. Got the music blasting, something we didn't have. And it was a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, one other topic we'll touch on because someone brought it up. Someone said LG needs to start a South Georgia High School Associate. I've heard this throughout the years that schools in the South and Middle Georgia need to pull out of the GHSA. I don't think that's possible. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's 100% possible. You get enough schools on board, and I think if you get the Lowndes and the Valdostas, the Tift counties, the Colquitt counties, even your Cordell-based schools, and even going north, Warner Robins, Northside Warner Robins, Richmond Hill, Camden County, Statesboro. You get all those guys on board, the rest will follow. You divide everything south of Macon, create your own conference, and there you go.
Let me tell you why it won't work.
Why?
Outside of our region, who are we going to play for in the playoffs for a state championship? At some point, you have to, when you form an association, you're going to have to create classes and regions. We don't have enough schools down here to make it feasible. We just don't.
But even then, though, I think it should be, like you said, south of Macon, north of Macon. It should be 2 different governing bodies or something, because I can tell you right now, the GAHSA, they do not have our best interests at heart.
Yeah.
Like they simply don't. They don't. It's a tragedy. Like you see transfers all the time, right? Kids moving all around the metro Atlanta area. but let somebody go to Valdosta. Let somebody move from Cook County because their mom just bought a house in Hayhara, and now they go to Lowndes. It's all kind of craziness. All kind of craziness. But we don't have nobody. It feels like we have nobody that sticks up for us.
Yeah.
And I know, I think, matter of fact, Coach Carr, Wright, Carr Wright, I think he's on the board up there as well. He coached at Lowndes.
Yeah.
So you would expect him to be saying something, but I don't see anything from him. So yeah.
I agree.
All right, so last few minutes in the show, let me let's go ahead and focus on this week's opponent. And that's Richmond Hill. So we'll go over the standings for Region 178. Are you guys getting any type of feedback?
No.
Maybe it's just on my end then. So we've got Class 7A or Region 178. We got Valdosta at the top, and I'm just going to give the region records here on out. Valdosta's 3-0, Colquitt's at 2-0. They've got a big game tomorrow night. That game is going to decide seeds 1 and 2 in our region. Then you've got Camden County at 1 and 2, Lowndes at 0 and 2, and Richmond Hill at 0 and 2. Camden is off this week, and Lowndes travels over to Richmond Hill. Both teams are 4 and 4 overall, and both teams are 0 and 2 in the region. This is do or die. Now, it's possible if Lowndes goes over there and lays an egg that if we beat Camden County the following week, we could still get in as the 4th seed. But is this a must-win tomorrow night over in Richmond Hill?
Yes, every game is a must. Every game that we get a chance to play is a must-win. Like we don't have the room to say, "Oops, we came out flat."
Yeah,
they got to get out there and dominate it. It's a must-win. I get it. If you win one of these games, you're probably making the playoffs, but you got to think about your seeding now. Win both games. See if you can get a better seeding.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, by the way, Armand, we've got a nickname for you already.
What's that?
Okay, so John Carroll says Armand's nickname should be the Professor.
I take it, John. I take that.
I like it. Let's don't ask the community what they're gonna call me, Larry. Okay, just don't do that.
I'm calling you Cornbread.
Oh no! We ain't doing that. No.
Or would you prefer Jiffy?
No. Yeah, I honestly think I'm with Armand. I think it's a must-win game. I am a little worried, and I have my reasons why.
Okay.
One of the things I can point to, and if you remember when Richmond Hill come over here last year, LG, I made the comment to you about halfway through the 4th quarter, I think. I made the comment last year that if Richmond Hill got some receivers to go with that quarterback,
yeah,
they were going to be an issue. Because that quarterback was fairly young, and he had a pretty good arm on him. Had some accuracy issues, but he had a pretty good arm on him, quick release, light on his feet. So I don't know. If they've got some receivers to go with them, it could be an issue for us.
Well,
I don't know.
They've been predominantly a running team this year. They do some things in the run game that I heard Adam Carter talk about. You know, he was talking about, you know, fans when they see a team run the ball, a lot of times they'll just start screaming, "Stop running it up the middle! Stop running up the middle!" But what they don't realize is all the blocking schemes that take place on any given play, and you could have a back going through the same hole for 5 straight times, but you could have 5 different blocking schemes for not representing 5 different plays, right? You guys have seen that in your day.
Mm-hmm.
So he says that Richmond Hill has some very unique blocking schemes, and if you are not a disciplined enough team up front, you could find yourself in a mismatch where all of a sudden you find yourself three blockers against 1 defender. So you got to be a very, very disciplined team over the next couple of weeks, really, against a very strong running team in Richmond Hill and Camden County.
Yeah.
So as much as I think you're right, Chase, about, we got to limit their quarterback play, that kind of stuff. If we shut down their run game tomorrow night, I think Lowndes wins this game easily. That's my honest opinion about it. But if we allow them to get 3-4 yards at a time, same thing goes for Camden County. We're all very familiar with what the wing T can do. So over the next couple of weeks, it's both of these programs that Lowndes will be facing. They're going to stress our defensive front seven mightily in stopping that run game. They're going to, this is not a strong point. Let's be honest. This is not a strong point for the Lowndes defense this year. We've given up a lot of rushing yards. And if that continues tomorrow night, it could be a long night.
And those yards usually primarily come between the tackles. That's why it's so alarming. And that's why it's like, oh my man, like, it's coming. Just stop it. Somebody just man up and stop it. And that's just what's so alarming about Richmond Hill as well as Camden. That has me kind of, if I was a coach, I'd be staying up all night and trying to find the biggest guys. Yes, I don't need y'all to make plays. I just need y'all to just take up space. That's what I'd be trying to do if I was Coach Carter. And like you said, you have to be disciplined. Like discipline, and that's why the wing team would work so well against teams, because it's the same play. It looks like it's the same play over and over and over again, and then a wrinkle, and it's a 60-yard touchdown.
That's right.
And same thing, I saw Richmond Hill play a couple of – I watched a little film on them, and like you said, it does look like the same play. It's like 2, 3, 4 yards, 2, 3, 4 yards, then boom. They hit a big run. So Lowndes is just going to have to stay disciplined. And like Chase said earlier, don't get caught looking in the backfield.
That's right.
Once they do that, it's a play action over the top. And that's been our Achilles heel all year. So,
Chase, I got some bad news for you, man.
Oh, God.
The White Oak Investment Line comments from our viewers, they're kind of liking this cornbread.
Oh, God. No.
So you either come up with a better name or that name might stick.
Look, no. Y'all going to have to figure out something else. I don't know. I'm going to have to get with Snellgrove and figure out what we're going to call me, because I don't know, something other than that.
Listen, I may have to call Winn-Dixie or Publix to sponsor a segment talking about the cornbread offensive segment for the night with Chase Garto.
Hey, I think we could sell some T-shirts. Cornbread and the Professor.
There you go. Yeah. I love it. We got another show coming. We're gonna produce another show, Cornbread and the Professor.
I think we could sell some merch.
Yeah, we can probably definitely sell some merch on that one now. I like it. Yeah, we can probably run something.
Brian Spray says cornbread Garto.
Oh Lord, no, just call me Coach Cornbread.
Yeah.
All
right, Coach C for short. I love it.
Hey, I mean, it's offensively. You got Jalen Carter in a weapon that we know. You got Smoke Fleming in a weapon that we know. I want to see them go to Leighton Proctor and Aiden Seafa a little more than what they do. I still have yet to see a DB that can jump with Aiden Seafa.
Yeah.
They've literally got to hang on him like a wet towel to be able to stop him from catching the ball. I would almost go to him as many times as possible to see if I could force the ref's hand to throw a PI call.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a big unit using. You got
Absolutely.
Leighton Proctor. You got Leighton Proctor, who runs a pretty decent post route in the middle of the field. Use him. You got Jalen Carter, who's probably one of the best out route receivers I've seen. He runs his routes extremely tight, and once he catches it, he can cut it upfield and make you miss. I think you just got to find a way to use the weapons you have. I know offensively I would, especially given a unit like Aiden Seafa. I'm trying to draw up anything to get the ball into his hands.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, a couple other things, and we got to shut it down for the night, is, guys, if you can't make it to the game tomorrow, now I hope you can. Now, obviously, if you want a ticket, go to the GoFan app to buy your ticket electronically. Bring that electronic ticket to the game. Now, there was some confusion earlier this week, and people did call asking about this. and that is the last ticket in our season ticket packet has printed on it Lowndes versus Richmond Hill. That's incorrect. That's an error. So don't bring that ticket to the Richmond Hill game up in Richmond Hill. Okay, save that one next week. That's going to be your Camden County ticket. So if you want to buy tickets, go ahead and go to GoFan. If you cannot make it, and I know it's a 3+ hour drive over there, there's no easy way to get over there. It's near Savannah. But if you cannot make it, then our friends at ITG Next, that's Phil Jones and the gang, they're going to be over there live streaming that game free of charge on Facebook. So we're going to provide the link tomorrow in our game day graphic. You can always read stuff that's available, that kind of stuff. And one of those is the ITG Next live streaming link with Phil Jones doing the play-by-play. If you don't like that option for whatever reason, if you are already an NFHS network subscriber, I believe that game will be on the NFHS network as well. So you got two options there as far as live streaming goes. But I've seen the ITG Next Facebook stream before. It's high quality stuff. They do a really, really good job. So anyway, kudos to those guys and Phil Jones, and we'll see those guys over there tomorrow night. All right, guys, last word, and that is the prediction. Chase, I'm going to put you on the spot first. Does Lowndes secure a playoff spot tomorrow night with a win over Richmond Hill?
31-28.
31-28 Lowndes, and we secure a playoff spot. That's your word.
Yeah. Because I think going into this game, I think if you get inside of Aiden Andrews' field goal range, I think you got to take the points. And he's got a pretty decent field goal range. So
I got you. Okay.
You got to take the points. And I think
Aiden has been money this year. I think he's missed one?
Yeah,
something like that.
One. He missed one, maybe. I think he only missed one. But hey, look, that kid is phenomenal. He knew he messed it up. He come to the sidelines and he was said to me, "I hooked it around too much."
Yeah.
I mean, he knew what he did the moment he hit it. So, I mean, the kid is money. I believe that it's going to become a slugfest, and Lowndes last possession, drive down the field, and Aiden puts it through.
Absolutely. All right, Armand, put you on the spot for the first time as a super fan. What's your prediction?
Man, I got Lowndes 31-12.
31-12. I like the way you think. I'm thinking along those same lines. I think the Lowndes offense starts hot, stays hot tomorrow night. I think it's Lowndes 35 and Richmond Hill 21.
I think Lowndes. I think we have confidence. No more victories, but I think the last two games have given us these boys confidence. We ain't got no choice, man. Go up there, ball out. And if they get the ball, find other ways to get the ball to Jalen Carter too.
Absolutely.
Because that kid's a beast. That kid is a beast.
And Smoke as well, the way he's been playing the last few games.
Yeah.
Get him out in the flats. Hit him on some wheel routes or some little dump outs in the flats and let him get out in space.
Gotta get creative.
Absolutely.
You got to get creative.
Guys, it's your last chance. If you want to go ahead and enter for your chance to win tonight's drawing, it's going to be a couple of T-shirts. So if you want to go ahead and enter drawing, do it now while I queue up the software. All you got to do is type in #1Lowndes into the comment, and you got to do that in the next 15 to 20 seconds or so. Okay. So let me go ahead.
And when Larry does up some cornbread and professor T-shirts, we're gonna give those away too.
Oh yeah. Also, I got Georgia by 30.
Oh, there's another big game down in Jacksonville this week. You got Georgia covering the spread easily by 30.
By 30.
I don't think Georgia covers the spread. I think it's a slugfest, and Georgia's lucky to get out there with a 3-point victory.
Oh my gosh. Well, whether it's 3 points or 30 points, I'll take a victory, but I don't think it's going to be 30, Armand. I'm as big as Georgia fan as you are. But I think it's probably going to be a healthy covering of the spread. I think they'll probably win this one by 17.
They got Grant Mertz, man. Come on. All right, we can talk about this for another 30 minutes, but
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and queue up our giveaway. Okay, here we go. So good luck to everyone that entered. And the winner is Hey, Chris Wheels. Congratulations, Chris, on winning 2 T-shirts in tonight's drawing on the Viking Nation Live. Guys, last thing is, hey, give it to my man. Just give it up for my new man, Armand Rashad, bringing the heat, earned him a new nickname, first time out on the show, and that is the Professor. What do you guys think? Give it up for both of our super fans. They brought the heat tonight. Both of them, absolutely outstanding performance. Both of you guys, Chase, Armand. Thank you so much for getting this. David Manani says it's rigged. I love it. Someone always blaming the officials. It's rigged. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Viking Nation Live tonight. As always, may God bless every single one of you, and go Vikings. We're out.
Go Vikings.